Welcome back, everyone. I want to make a video showing some more items on all of the T-gauge layouts so far, the Bavarian layout, the UK, and the Pennsylvania T-gauge layouts. A good while ago, I think it was probably back when I first made this Bavarian layout and posted it, somebody had a question about how the lake was made. And I think I just mentioned it briefly on the one video, but let's dive into it and show how it was actually done. And then we'll look at some items from the UK T-gauge layout and also the Pennsylvania T-gauge layout. All right, so let's begin. Okay, so we're going to look at this lake. So to start out, I had bought these JTT scenery, plastic, still water, it says. So I thought they looked pretty good, but I wasn't sure before the layout how I was going to use them. So I thought, well, it's something nice, and I need some color to it, though. So here's what they look like when they're out. They're rippled, and if you turn them around, one side appears shinier than the other, which I'm looking at. I don't know if it shows up in the camera or not, but this side is more, I guess, less shiny than this side. So I want to keep the shiny side up, obviously. So what I thought was, well, I could paint the back of this, and maybe it would have turned out okay, but I didn't know if it would help add any depth to it or not. So I had some of this liquid water, and it's also by JTT, and there's other brands, so I'm not saying you have to use a certain brand. But I thought, well, I could maybe pour this on here and give it a good color and maybe some thickness. So this is what I consider the back side, the less shiny side. So all I did from there was I took white glue and just made like a dam all the way around. And I let this dry once I had one pass of the glue all the way around, and I put another one once it was dry just to make it higher so it would hold more of this blue water plastic. Okay, so for purposes of the video, I'm not going to wait until that dries because that could be a very long time. So here's what it looks like after it's poured and dried. So you can see the glue dam around the edge, and that's to prevent this liquid blue water from going over the edges, of course. So this is what it looks like after it's all dry. This is on the underside. So I'm not sure if it shows up really good in the video or not, but when you turn it different ways, you get different shades of blue in here. Then what I did then, I thought, well, you want light to shine through as much as possible, reflect. So when I put it on the layout, I just put a normal sheet of white paper under it, like this, and set it on there, and it helped reflect the light. And it also shows different shades of the blue, and it looks very shiny. And they have a nice plastic surface, easy to clean. In fact, it's probably better than if you had this exposed. I know it's cleanable, but this type of plastic, you can probably wipe it with most anything, and it won't, it won't scratch or anything. So that's it. That's how the lake was done for the Bavarian layout. I'm not saying it's the only way it can be done. It's just the way I did it. If you like it, give it a try. It's fairly easy. And there you have it. Next thing I want to talk about on the T-gauge layouts, and they're all done the same as far as this next step goes, but they all have a backdrop, and per manufacturer's instructions, it's mounted on a piece of hardboard. And the kind I bought, they were all self-adhesive, which I really like. But also, what I want to mention was on the edges, all along the edges. So you buy a nice backdrop and you want it to last and not get damaged or anything. So I was trying to figure out a way to protect the edges. And what I found that works pretty good, you find it in an auto parts store, it's like a piece of, it's plastic, usually comes in a roll, but it's shaped where it can go right over top of this. And what it's made for is the edges of doors on a car. So if you put it on your car door and you open it up and bump something, it won't damage the paint. Well, just so happens it works out perfect for this. As you can tell, it protects it all the way around. I just had to cut the corner. But yeah, just want to point that out. I did it the same way on all 3 T-gauge layouts, and it's holding up pretty well. So that's it, just another detail I want to point out. Let's take a look at the guardrails on this, on my T-gauge Pennsylvania layout. Every road has guardrails. And I want to start putting them on the layout, and I was trying to think of a way to make them. So here are the materials for making the guardrail on my T-gauge Pennsylvania layout. For the rail part, I picked out this Plastruct styrene strip. It's 0.3 millimeter by 0.5 millimeter, or 1/100th of an inch times 2/100th of an inch. And then for the post, the upright posts that hold the rail, I don't have the millimeter on there because the price tag covered it up. Tried to uncover it but couldn't get it. Anyway, it's 1/100th of an inch square rod. So both of them very tiny, very tedious. So what I did was I just, pull out the rail part like this and cut off some pieces for the post. I didn't really bother measuring it, just maybe a 1/4 inch or so I could work with them. And then glued them on, put them there like that. Held everything down, put a little dab of glue on. Then when that was dry, which was pretty quick, I would take the T-gauge gauge here that they provide with their starter sets, or you can get it separately, I guess, and measured about 10 scale feet apart for the post. And I realize this is probably variable. I mean, I'm sure older guardrails, the post may be closer or further apart. Anyway, main thing, I wanted a distance that looked realistic, and 10 foot appears to make it look good. So once those are glued on straight, and now a whole row of them, then I would measure the height in the scale feet and cut the post at that point. And that's how those are done. When I put it on the layout, of course, the posts are so tiny, I did not drill holes or anything in the layout to mount this. I just set it on the scenery material. If there was some thicker material or bushes, that was even better because it helped hold the shape going around the curve that was in the picture. And then I just put some dabs of white glue by the post to help hold everything together. And that's how I made the guardrails.